lost. Really lost.
Tis dangerous out there in space.
You're a Jedi.
Jude, you've been part of the MCU, you've been part of JK's Fantastic Beasts series. What was it like for you to join the Star Wars universe?
I'm realizing I'm just someone who's very curious, and you know, those three franchises all have very different aesthetics and different ways of doing what they do, and I just am always curious to see how it's done. This was a universe I grew up watching as a little boy in the 70s and 80s, and you know, like so many people, it kind of changed everything. It defined going to the cinema. It was a new, you know, on a new scale. And so when the opportunity arose with a great character and a great concept, I thought I was very keen to see, as I said, how they did it.
To me, this reminded me of like the Amblin movies from the 80s,
Yes.
Gremlins, like just in its tone and its
Yes.
look, and it's so light and fun. What sets this apart from other Star Wars stories for you, Jude?
I think the idea that, you know, if you take the innocence and the awe that most people feel as children when they see this world for the first time, and they using that and putting that into the protagonists, I thought was a really simple and really wonderful, refreshing approach. And as you rightly said, to make them a gang of kids who, like the films you mentioned, all those real crowd pleasers of the 80s, you know, so they're real kids. They've got issues, they bicker, they fall in and out of friendship, some have issues at home, some have issues at school. It meant that, you know, I think you could see yourself in them or your own children in them. And again, that just connects you a little more. I thought it was a really simple and really effective way of refreshing this world.
You know, I'm loving going on the internet and reading fan theories as to who your character Jude is. You know, some of them are he's a fallen Jedi and this is his redemption story. How are you describing this character Jude to people? Because I know you can't give away any spoilers.
He's certainly mysterious. He's a survivor, quick-witted, different things to different people. You know, yeah, there you go, there's plenty there.
You know, we saw you at the Toronto Film Festival with The Order and Eden, two drastically different projects. You know, what makes you say yes to a tentpole like the Star Wars?
Like I said, I think curiosity. I like trying different genres, and I like, you know, taking on different challenges and trying to see if I fit into it and what I can learn from it. And it's one of the joys of what I do. I've got real interest in making smaller independent films and taking on really challenging roles. And then I love working on this sort of scale and trying to fit into that too. So, I mean, honestly, to me, it's just the run of what is available to one as an actor. And like I keep coming back to, I guess I'm just very curious.
Will Skeleton Crew have big implications on the rest of the Star Wars universe?
I guess if it's embraced by the fans, yeah. Or it'll just exist out there in the universe on its own.
What's the level of secrecy like on a Star Wars project versus Marvel?
I mean, both pretty extreme. And rightly so, there's a lot of interest. Yeah. I mean, I think Star Wars took it to a new level because we didn't even have our character names on the call sheet. We all had code names, and the whole production had a code name. So that was more extreme than any of the others I've ever done. But yeah, MCU take it pretty seriously too. They had a head of security who was, telling everyone. We had to all wear cloaks to cover up the costumes just in case people got photographs.
I was on the set of Captain Marvel. You weren't there that day, but yeah, it was wild. Um, 25 years, man, since talented Mr. Ripley. I just realized that, earlier today. I was like, oh my gosh. Jude, that was, you were nominated for an Oscar. How did that role change the trajectory of your career?
Pretty considerably. It was very warmly received, and the nomination obviously meant a great deal to me, and then had a pretty massive effect on what was then coming my way, and the kind of people that were interested in working with me. But honestly, the strongest memory is working with those wonderful actors and with Anthony. I mean, being in that location and realizing now with hindsight how, it's hard to get films like that made in that way, on that level. And I was very lucky to be able to make a couple of films like that in that era before things changed and before budgets for films like that started to get slashed.
Young Jude, think about your career has been so cool to see all the different eras. What does he think of where he ended up in the year 2024?
That's a nice question. I'll have to connect with young Jude for a moment. I think he's delighted, I mean, the one thing I would always want to carry on doing is working with interesting people and trying, as I said, new things and trying to stretch the challenge or the acting muscle. And the fact that I'm still working and sitting here and able to talk about a new project or a new film that's coming out is still just a really good place to be.
Over here, quick. I'll get you home. We'll make a partnership.
But we have to move fast!
I need you to take the controls.
Okay.
Neil? Neil?